Dan, let's look ahead to the Eagles next season. So obviously there are still moves to be made, but where do you see them in the NFC East this season? Honestly, the Commanders look like they're kind of going all in. Is this still Philly's division?
See, the part that makes it tough for me to say it's the Eagles division is simply because if the Eagles were repeat champs here in the NFC East, that would be the first time since 2004 that you had repeat champions in the NFC East. Like you're talking over 2 decades of no team winning straight back-to-backs. Now, I would be remiss if I mentioned that the last time a team did it, the Eagles won 4 straight. So I would be fine with them going on a run like that. But the thing is, you mentioned it. It's Washington and it's Philadelphia. I mean, according to Dak Prescott, if the Dallas Cowboys would have been healthy, they would have beat both of them, and they would have been in the Super Bowl. I direct quote there from our man Dak Prescott. So I know he had some ankle injuries. I didn't know he had head injuries as well. But hey, that's to be discussed. I mean, maybe closer to the season. But yeah, it's Washington and it's Philadelphia for me. And I think Washington's is going to be the team to push them not only this year, but for years to come. I mean, with Jaden Daniels and what that team is doing, Washington, I mean, Katie, when was the last time that Washington was a trade destination? When were they the last time that you're a free agent being like, I want to go to Washington and play for whatever they're called now, right? So
Not in my lifetime.
that's what I'm saying. Like definitely not in my lifetime either. So this is where it is now uncharted territory because if I would take another 20 minutes just absolutely bemoaning how much I can't stand Josh Harris because not only did he ruin my 76ers, he made Washington a destination. Just like twofold of pain. I don't know what he has against the city of Philadelphia. But in the same breath there, Katie, like there's no reason to think that the Eagles won't do what they've done every single year under Nick Sirianni.
Mhm.
Win, right? The guy, for all you want to say about him, oh, he chirps fans, he does this, he's not a real NFL head coach, he brings you nothing. Well, keep giving him flack because the guy's got 2 Super Bowl appearances, he's got a Super Bowl championship, and he's got the highest winning percentage of any NFL coach. If you look back to in his first few years, the winning percentage that he has puts him in the ilk of like Lombardis, of rarefied air. So we can keep doing this song and dance where Nick Sirianni isn't a good head coach until we just accept that he is. So, I'm not going to go full on homer and be like, Eagles back-to-back Super Bowl, let's go. But when you look at the odds and you look around the board and you see, that the Eagles are right around favorites to be in that Super Bowl game or grab another one, doesn't surprise me at all to see that name up there. This roster, while they lost a lot of pieces, they'll still gain more, and you don't know what the game day roster is going to look like. And, oh yeah, for all the pieces they lost, they still have Saquon Barkley on their team. They still have Jalen Hurts on their team. They still have A.J. Brown, though Patriots fans think he's going there. I don't think there's any way in hell that happens. So they still are completely loaded up. So, yeah, I could see him winning back-to-back in the NFC East, but it would be the first time it happened in over 20 years. So wouldn't shock me if Washington got it done either.
I admittedly was one of those people honking of I don't really understand what Nick Sirianni does for that team, and then they won a Super Bowl, so I have admittedly had to look in the
I
mirror
was
and
I was a major Nick Sirianni hater, hands up. I was like, what is this guy doing? He's just a
what does he
yes
do?
man. Yeah, like he doesn't do anything. But honestly, X and O's, sure, he might not do anything. But these players love that guy. And that's like an
It seems
intangible.
like it.
Yeah, that's like an intangible because when they started the year and it kind of looked like it was the hangover from last season where they were really struggling out of the gate. They were losing games they shouldn't lose. And it seemed like that skid that they ended on carried over to the next year. They went into the bye week. The bye week couldn't have came at a more perfect time, being
Yes.
early on in the season to just kind of press that reset button. And Nick Sirianni comes out with his hair shaved like Slim Shady, chirping at fans, being aggressive, and the players rallied around it. So I think they have a really good, yin and yang, so to speak, because they have the absolute bloviation of the head coach and Nick Sirianni, who kind of is almost like a quasi mascot for the team. And then you just have this quiet, calm demeanor that you have in the Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts. So I think they balance each other out quite well.
Mhm.
And again, maybe I was a Sirianni detractor. Second he hoisted up that Lombardi, can't really say much about it now.
No, you really can't. Last question for you, Dan. So you kinda touched on this, but I just wanna ask your thoughts about the NFC overall. Can they run
Mhm.
it back? Like,
Yeah,
there's a few teams I'm kinda looking at, like the Lions, but they just lost both an OC and a DC, and
exactly.
there's just, like, the NFC West, I just never really know what's going on there. Like, where do you see the Eagles overall in the conference?
Yeah, and again, pre-draft, it's really hard to make any definitive
Yeah.
declarations, right? Because there's going to be so much that changes over these next few weeks here. But you know, if you when you just look around the NFC, I completely agree with you as far as the Lions are concerned. Like this really felt like, as far as feeling confident heading into the year, this was kind of like the Lions' last hurrah. Like they have talk about new looks. They are a full new look team. Losing Ben
Yes.
Johnson, I think, is going to hurt them. And I think they're also going to put way too much of a target on the Bears' back. Like I think their motivating factor is going to be beat up on the Bears this year because Ben Johnson,
Mm.
he coached a horrible game, didn't get us to the NFC Championship game. So I think they're going to start being distracted, and also players, it's kind of going to get old what Dan Campbell does. Part of the reason why I wasn't a
Mm.
Lions guy, you know, and I hate to pat myself on the back, but I said when Washington was going into Detroit, I said bet Washington money line, because for me, with what Dan Campbell does every single week, having your guys go full bore, having them go absolute all out. That game that they should have just rested their starters against the Vikings, and he says, well, we don't do that. We play every single game. The reason why they had so many injuries this last year is in the NFL, you cannot sustain that type of level, right? There's going to be letdown spots. There's going to be times and rigmaroles of the season where you just kind of have to take a step back and be like, yeah, we probably should have had that one. But going full bore for 17 plus weeks, it just doesn't work. Your bodies are going to wear down. Your players' emotions are going to wear down, taking every single game like it's the Super Bowl. That when the Super Bowl finally comes, you're not going to be able to get up for it because you already got up for a week 3 game against the Jaguars and beat up on them. And wow, congratulations for that. Where did it leave you? It left you with injured players because you left them in a blowout.